remember being really nervous to hit that. I have chills just thinking of it, just hitting that 10K and being like, am I going to make it? Because this is where it all started last time. And I made it. I saw the washroom that I had stopped at. I looked at it and I was like, not today. Then I saw the other one. I was like, not today. And I didn't even have to stop to pee, which I often have to do. And like everything just clicked.
Does it feel like gut issues or digestive stress shows up at the worst possible time in your training or even on race day? If you're a runner who is ever worried about how your gut might react during a race or even during hard training, I think you're really going to relate to today's episode. I'm excited to introduce to you my guest, Cindy. Cindy is a client of mine and an incredible example of what can happen when a runner really dials in their fueling strategy and builds confidence in their gut. After dealing with some fueling and digestive challenges that were impacting her racing, she made some key changes that helped her run a personal best at the Boston Marathon. Cindy Guyan is a Toronto-based realtor and endurance runner known as the Running Realtor. She balances a busy real estate career with a genuine love for running and an active lifestyle. Rooted in Toronto's West End, she helps buyers, sellers, landlords, tenants, and investors navigate the real estate market with honesty, patience, and a practical, no-pressure approach. On the running side, Cindy shares her real experiences online, from the highs of training to inevitable setbacks, and how learning to fuel properly helped her overcome the gut issues that once held her back. She's also a proud dog mom who loves to log her miles with her pup at her side. In today's episode, we talk about Cindy's running journey and how the Running Realtor first came to life, the fueling and gut challenges she was experiencing prior to racing her second Boston Marathon, the key changes she made with fueling and race day preparation, what race week and race day looked like before she ran her Boston Marathon personal best, and we finished with a fun Would You Rather segment. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, Cindy. Welcome to the show. So I've been super excited to have you on and chat all about your journey to fuel your Boston Marathon PB back in 2025. And I think our audience is in for a real treat today because you're a very inspiring example of how really, great things can happen when you fuel properly, you trust the process, and you commit to long-term growth. So thank you for coming on today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share a bit about my story and hopefully help some people and show the light at the end of the tunnel.
Excellent. So you are a real estate agent, aka the Running Realtor, and you're also a very seasoned runner with a lot of race distances behind your belt. Plus, you're an avid traveler and you really enjoy your social life as a Torontonian. And I know I've loved watching your journey online, and you love sharing about your training and your races. So can you share more about what really inspired you to start sharing your running journey online, and even a little bit more about the story behind the Running Realtor?
Yeah, for sure. So I think for me, like the Running Realtor, real estate is such a personal business. Like you are in the weeds with people, whether it's a really exciting move or a divorce or just a next step. And I think for me, I just really wanted to be authentic. I had my own personal Instagram account, which was called Cindy on the Move. And I was contemplating, putting some real estate in there. But then at the end of the day, I was like, let's just do a real estate focused one. And trying to come up with a name, I was like, I'm just going to be the Running Realtor, because when I actually started in real estate, I didn't have a car yet. And I was running to a lot of my appointments. And I would
run, commute, and show up.
Exactly. Like you can actually get quicker downtown if you're running often.
I agree.
So for me, like it was just such a natural move, and I just wanted to be I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to be the person, you see what you get. And I think a lot of, I've done a lot of interviews throughout my life, and a lot of the feedback I've received is the minute you know that someone's like a marathon runner, you know that they're dedicated, you know that they're motivated, you know that they're passionate, and all of that translates super well to, the work that I would put into my work and my clients. So it just kind of felt super natural. And I'll post some things about the Toronto real estate market, and I'm in the West End, so focusing highly on like High Park and the Martin Goodman Trail and the Humber Trails. And it's so easy to just do it when I'm out on a run and filming the sunrise and with my dog. And yeah, it was just a really kind of natural transition from there. And I do feel like now people get that vibe from me, and it opens that conversation, and people do kind of ask me about different races in the city. And yeah, it's just been a very natural kind of transition for me.
Hmm. That's awesome. And do you get a lot of clients who are very active and they want you to help them navigate just where the best places to live are that are close to running trails or
Yeah, I think a lot of clients like that they're eager to be in an area that they can be active like that it's easy. And I'm at High Park, and High Park is outside my door, and I definitely think like people will kind of steer in my direction because of that. But then also I have a ton of clients that like that's not it at all. And again, I think it's just more of the personality. And when you work in real estate, it's very, like I said earlier, like person to person. So as long as you can kind of get along with the person and know who they are and know that they're going to have your back, I think that's really the priority at the end of the day.
yeah, that makes sense. And then I'd love for you to tell us about just digging back a little on what really started your passion for running. Can you share, if you can remember back, maybe the first time you went for a run?
Yeah.
Where was it? How did you feel during? How did you feel after? Just tell us a story.
Yeah. I feel like I've been running pretty much my entire life. I started when I was 3 years old. My parents put me in soccer. And I'm the youngest of three girls, and we all were very active, and running was just kind of the natural
Mm.
way to progress. I did run a lot like in high school, so I can't go back to a specific like when I first went on my run because I do not remember when I was three. But I have a very specific like when I shifted kind of into more serious running.
Mhm.
I remember running with my sister. I really looked up to her. She was really fast in high school. She would always be on the podium, and I wanted to be like her. She was my middle sister. And she would get me to go out on a run, and it was a 2.5 kilometer run to the library and 2.5 kilometer back. And she basically had me kind of start and just do the run walk transition and kind of, I would do the first 2.5 running, and then I would run walk the 2.5 back. And I remember it being such a so frustrating because like it takes so it's really slow to build up. But then I got to a point that day that I was able to do the full 5K without having to walk. And then it just kind of unleashes a new perspective, and to see the growth hands on of the work you've put in is now actually working. That I think was the real like pivot for me.
Mhm.
And I never would have thought I would have ran a marathon. I remember even like I used to only run 10Ks, and it was I would see the people lined up for their marathon bib, and I'd be like, oh yeah, no. And now it's like all I want to do. So I love looking back at that growth. Like I did not start, as a natural runner. Like it definitely took time to get to where I'm at.
Mhm.
And I do have a lot of people that will often reach out to me, and they're starting their running journey. And I'm so excited for them. And I think there's so much, it just gets better. It just really gets better. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Hmm. Well, kudos to your sister. That sounds
Yeah.
like the running coach every beginner needs
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
take them to a structured walk run.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, she was very helpful. I
Yeah.
have two, both of them were really helpful, but yeah, the middle one was definitely good
Good.
on that.
Do you remember then your first like actual race where you really like pushed
I
yourself really hard, or is that?
Yeah, I think, I raced in high school, and I was good at it. Again, like I would be on the podium myself. I wasn't cross country by any means. I was good in my high school, and then the minute we would do like an outside meet, I was like not nearly as competitive, but in my own little high school I was. And I remember, yeah, like being able to be in the lead. And but then it just becomes like the more advanced you get, it becomes harder and harder to like beat your times. And I remember I had kind of shifted away from running as a teen, like I had a boyfriend and I wasn't like as serious about it. And I remember one year I came in fourth and I wanted to quit. I wanted to DNF because I was like, this is embarrassing. I'm fourth. Like, what just happened? And I was like, I need to get back into fitness and everything. So it really plays a toll, and you have to really, it can be very healthy, but it can also be really mentally kind of challenging sometimes. And
Hmm.
just stepping back and remember where you started from, it for me was really important.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I think, yeah, we first connected maybe a few years ago, and then I've been following your journey, enjoying your journey online. I think prior to you having the separate real estate account, you were,
Yeah.
yeah, sharing a lot on your personal page about your running journey, which I've enjoyed. And then now I enjoy also your snippets from Toronto and all
Yeah.
that. So,
It's a lot of sunrises, a lot of sunrises.
no, it's good though. I like it. Reminds me, like, okay, yes, I do still love Toronto. But yeah, and then you had reached out, I think, to work together towards the end of 2024 in the winter to prepare for your second Boston Marathon for 2025. Just to set the stage, I think we have a lot of people listening that are probably avid runners. But for those that don't know, the Boston Marathon is the world's oldest marathon. It was founded in 1897, and it takes place annually on the third Monday of April, Patriots Day in Boston, Massachusetts. And it's pretty difficult to get in. You do have to qualify based on age and gender ranking. Otherwise, you may be able to get like a coveted charity
Yeah.
spot. So it's pretty tough to get in. So it's awesome that you could do your second time. But yeah, obviously, this was a pretty big deal for you. So can you share more about what prompted you to reach out to work together to help prepare for that?
Yeah. So my first Boston did not go very well. I had 9 bathroom breaks, and it's so disheartening when you have spent, 17 weeks training for something and you're ready to test and go and like give it your all, and your body, your GI decides that nope, we're not doing that today. And I had been working with a dietitian previously, like just for sports nutrition. But the reason I reached out to you specifically was because you are the gut, the gut friendly dietitian that I had been aware of. And obviously we had been in touch, and I did follow kind of your journey as well. But I had a few instances of races that I was just always having to be in the bathroom,
Mm.
and not for number one, but for number two. And I figured I was doing what I thought everything right. Like I was drinking the fluids, I was fueling with the gels, and I was being aware of what I was consuming the days before. But obviously there's something that was not right. And before, going the route of, is there actually like something wrong with me, or can we break it down further and like look at my nutrition? I wanted to do that. I did get some tests done to see if I had any like signs of Crohn's disease or anything like that, and all of that came back negative. So I
Mhm.
was pretty sure that it was nutrition focused. And what I was seeing is that in my day to day, I was totally fine. I didn't suffer from bloat. I didn't have those issues. It was always on those really hard efforts of race day.
Mhm.
And then often right after my really big long runs in the summer, that I would just have to be at the bathroom afterwards. So yeah, I think reaching out to you was kind of okay, like my last my last hope of what is wrong. I did the Cabot Trail relay. So I did Boston. I had my 9 bathroom breaks at Boston, which was horrible. Like running a marathon when you're having, like, I was literally sprinting from porta potty to porta potty. I
Wow.
had to completely change my mindset. It was not, try to run the time that I knew I was fit to run. It
Mhm.
was just finish, because every time you go to the bathroom, you're dehydrating yourself even more, and you're running a marathon, which is extremely dehydrating. So I wanted to be smart about it. So I kind of left that all aside. And then after Boston, I did, just a month later, I did the Cabot Trail relay, and I had a morning leg. So it's a relay that goes on for like 24 hours. And I had a morning leg of about 20 kilometers. And then I had an evening leg at midnight of about 12 kilometers.
Mhm.
And during the evening leg, I ended up in the bush like every 2 minutes. So obviously something's wrong. So yeah, so I think like reaching out to you and trying to figure going into the detail was the main reason that I did reach out,
Hmm.
and not to spoil, but it worked.
Good. Well, yeah, I think it's great. Obviously, you had been prioritizing fueling for a long time. I think you, like you said, you'd worked with another sports dietitian before, which helped you lay a good foundation. And then now it was more kind of getting into the more GI focused side, which is good. So obviously, you prioritize it, and it's important for your training too.
Yeah.
But like that said, like you aren't alone in this. So it is estimated like 30 to 50% of endurance athletes experience at least one or more gastrointestinal symptoms during training or competition. So it's not uncommon. Like endurance athletes are at the highest risk, and then like high intensity, high hard efforts or prolonged training. So, marathon training increases that risk as well. So it's not it's not uncommon, but there are things that we can do about it for sure.
Yeah.
So with us working together, can you share, maybe, I think we had highlighted some areas for improvement. So what do you feel like were maybe the biggest changes that we made with your sort of regular fueling for your training and or your preparation for race day that
Yeah.
you think helped your gut?
Yeah, I think well the education was a really big part of it, just kind of understanding like I'm okay with like trying things, but I want to understand why is it working. So like you were really good at sharing that. Um and again, like because I wasn't having issues in my day to day, it was really hard for me to say that it was just food, that it was my nutrition. And what you kind of helped me, you provided me with a 1 week menu plan, and I remember coming back and taking a photo of all the food and like a bag of spinach, a bag of kale, and like all these things. Like normally I would only buy like a bag of spinach and eat that for the entire week. And then the next week I would do a bag of kale. But you were talking a lot about plant diversity and, trying to constantly bring in different sources of nutrients from different things. Whereas I used to just eat the exact, like my breakfast was the exact same thing. My lunch was the exact same thing. So whenever I would introduce something new, potentially that was not helping because my body was not necessarily used to taking in so many new nutrients. So I think playing around with that was really helpful, just kind of introducing new, different sources of nutrients. But I will say the carb load for me was a huge game changer. A carb load, you're trying, I don't recall what my numbers are, but maybe I'm supposed to take in like 350 grams of carbs the 2 days before a marathon. That's a lot of carbs. And when you read things online and it's like Pop Tarts, graham crackers, bagels, it's like very simple carbs
Mm-hmm.
that people will be talking about. And that would just really bloat me. Like I would go into this race feeling not fresh. Like I just felt, because I never eat like that. Like I don't, and I get that for the carb load, you're building up storage, but to go from like I'm a very fairly healthy eater and then to just eat like Pop Tarts and graham crackers and all that for 2 days was really hard with my past training. So your carb load, I was still reaching those numbers, but it was significantly more diversified. And it was, there was broccoli. And I remember asking you, like, you're giving me broccoli the day before a marathon?
Not too much for those listening, but just a little bit.
Well, and then you clarified, you're like, I think you said like under half a cup is still considered like okay. And again, every body is different, but like for me, it was okay. But like I would have never consumed a, a vegetable before. And so, yeah, there was things like, incorporating, there was spinach, there was eggs. It was really balanced. There was a good amount of protein. There wasn't too much fiber, but it just ended up being like drastically different than what I had experienced, than my previous carb loads that I thought I was doing okay. And it allowed me to kind of go into race day feeling, a lot better, like a lot, like I did not feel that bloat by any means. I also got to test it before, like I had a half marathon and I tested it and it went really well. So I think that was the really big part of it. And then we also kind of cut gluten where we could the days leading to and the morning of. So, having a gluten-free bagel instead of a regular bagel. And man, did that take some getting used to. Gluten-free bagels are so blah. But hey, it works and I'm here for it. And I still do it to this day. Every long run, even if it's 14K or 30K, I'm having my gluten-free bagel because it works. So yeah, like all of those little changes helped. And then we did also add in a little bit of protein at the same time, which normally, before a long run, they say do not eat protein. But you had explained that, like for women specifically, like having a little bit amount of protein mixed with the carbs will help all of that. So yeah, it was kind of eye-opening. And it's just there's so much noise online, and you don't know, like you really don't know what's right and what's wrong, and every single body is different, and without trying different things. But yeah, I think those were like the biggest changes for me, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely everyone's individualized, and also like, what you do for a carb load might depend on prior diet and what you had done before. So it can be hard to kind of follow just like blanket things online, which might not be right for you, as you said, and lead to digestive
And
upset.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just to add as well, like even just from the gels that I was taking, you helped me identify, gels that were better, easier to digest. I don't know if they're low FODMAP specifically, but like didn't have any fructose. And we also worked with just drinking regular water and supplementing that by adding salt chews, because often the electrolytes that are offered on course are high in fructose. Fructose does not work well for me during race day. So like even to that level of degree, like we were able to find ways to work around that. Because if I would race with my own handheld, then I could control it, but I don't. So I have to rely with what's on course. And yeah, sometimes on course, it's stuff that is going to be way too strong for me, and it's going to send me in overdrive.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case, we had to pick which was the better or the lesser evil and
Yeah.
work around
Yeah.
it versus what would have been optimal is having your own bottles, but that's not always
Yeah.
possible. Yeah. It's good you mentioned low FODMAP, just for those listening that did sort of underpin the carb load. So low FODMAP traditionally is considered like a more therapeutic diet for irritable bowel syndrome. So it essentially reduces the amount of FODMAPs, which are like fermentable carbohydrates found in a lot of like plant-based foods that our gut microbes in our large bowel can ferment, and they produce gas. So it can help reduce symptoms in IBS. But research actually shows that for endurance athletes specifically, whether they do have a pre-existing GI condition or not, implementing the low FODMAP diet or principles of it, like around endurance training, can help reduce exercise-induced GI symptoms. So that was sort of a thread with the carb load that I think made a
Mhm.
big difference for you as well, which is awesome. So yeah, why don't you take us through race day? I know it was about a year ago now,
Yeah.
but if you want to maybe just paint us a picture. I know it went really well for you, so share a little bit more about maybe your prep. I know you mentioned the carb load, but maybe prep the
Yeah.
day before race morning, and just share how that whole experience went for you.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit excessive when it comes to to following direction. If you tell me to eat 5 almonds, I will eat 5 almonds and not a single almond more. I'm by the book. So for me, it works. It works well. So I knew that going into this Boston, I needed to be in complete control of what I was consuming, because I went with kind of a revenge of I had such a horrible Boston the year before that I was like, this is my chance to come back, but it's also extremely intimidating. So I ended up booking a hostel that had a kitchen, and others might do an Airbnb, but I stay a lot in hostels, and that's not an issue for me. And I packed my measuring spoons and I packed my measuring cups, and I brought some stuff from Toronto, and I went to Trader Joe's and bought a bunch of stuff when I was there. But basically, for those 2 days of carb loading, I just consumed to the specific my carb load. I would say like sometimes I was a little bit snackier, like I was a little bit hungry. So the only thing that I would change was just like maybe an additional rice cake or a little bit more jam, but like sticking to what was already on my plan and just like increasing like more rice with my lunch or those kind of changes, but still kind of keeping an eye and making sure that I wasn't adding too much of anything else. But to be honest, having that kitchen and being able to like cook my own stuff was, I think, a saving grace. It was also for people who want to do Boston, there is a really great hostel there. It is massive, and you get to meet so many people from around the world who are coming. Like the hostel is you pay a lot more money than usual, so it's only people running Boston, and you get to see everyone other like all the different food traditions that people do. Like I had one guy who just cooked rice and he just ate like an entire bowl of rice the entire 2 days, and for him it works. So it was really nice to see everyone kind of doing their own thing there.
What's the name of it? The hostel?
It's the HI, Hostling International,
Okay,
Boston.
we'll give
Yeah.
them a shout out.
Yeah, yeah, it was very expensive for a hostel, but Boston's very expensive. But yeah, so did all of that. I was super careful, and then obviously the day before, you try to spend the least amount of time on feet. For other marathons, I had actually done a full taper. I had cut coffee completely because, again, coffee can sometimes stimulate. But I was finding that I was actually getting headaches the days because I'm just so used to having, I don't drink that much coffee, but I was having headaches from not drinking coffee. So I was like, I'm going to have 1 cup of coffee a day. Like it's really not that's going to change. But yeah, and then race morning, had my food. I had it on the bus because I knew I needed to eat it at like exactly 2 hours. In 2 hours, I was going to be on the bus. So brought it on the bus, ate. And we had trained my gut to be able to take a gel just before the start, which I was very intimidated about because I had done that before and it had not gone well.
Mm-hmm.
But I had tested it during so many long runs. And yeah, started the race. There was actually an issue with the buses, and I barely had any time in the athletes village. Had to basically run to the starting point and then continue running because
Oh my gosh.
morale went right away. Yeah. I
Wow.
think that really helped to not get in my head.
True, that's true.
um,
Just thrown into it.
yeah. And it was really scary because my GI issues the year before had started at about kilometer 10, which is so early into a race.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst of it had been like until kilometer 17. And I remember being really nervous to hit that. I have chills just thinking of it, just hitting that 10K and being like, am I going to make it? Because this is where it all started last time. And I made it. I saw the washroom that I had stopped at. I looked at it and I was like, not today. Then I saw the other one. I was like, not today. And I didn't even have to stop to pee, which I often have to do. And like everything just clicked, and I took my gels on time and I had no issues. And I think I ran like, my gosh, I don't even remember, the first year I did 3:35 with all of my bathroom breaks, and then I
Mm-hmm.
did like a 3:14.
Whew.
So I ran it significantly faster,
Yeah.
and ended up being a PB. And to PB on the Boston course itself is a huge
Mm-hmm.
accomplishment.
It's
So yeah,
pretty hilly course too, right?
mhm.
Never done it, but
And I remember when I finished, like I crossed the line and I saw my friend, and I did the first thing I told her wasn't like I PB'd. It was I had no GI issues because it had become like such a big part of my life, and I was so happy, and it just kind of helped me get out of it. And I continued, like I did the Cabot relay again the year after, and I
mm-hmm.
had no GI issues, and I feel like I have control again on my body, and I
Mm-hmm.
can now continue to do the things that I really like. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've had like some little instances here, but did I have a proper dinner the night before that was to plan? No. So like I know that if I do things right, it will go well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing too, just knowing what you can control in order to feel good, and then making that choice when you maybe want to go a different direction, knowing you'll suffer the
Yeah.
consequences, but at least it's in your control. It's your choice, rather than
Yeah.
not knowing what what actually
Yeah.
made you need to sprint to the bathroom in your long
Yeah.
run. So that's awesome. That's really good. Um, yeah. So as I mentioned before, like obviously GI symptoms are common for endurance athletes, and whether you do have an existing GI condition or not. So I think you had a really good mindset going into your second Boston, because a lot of people will maybe get more anxious about racing, and sometimes that can also contribute to the GI symptoms happening again. So what made you say to someone listening who's maybe had an emergency GI event during a race and they're hesitant to race again? Do you have any thoughts or words of wisdom?
I
Perfect.
think just like know that your body can change. You don't have to live with what you're kind of going through. Like there are a lot of options. And I think it is very easy to get free information online,
Mhm.
but there is so much noise. And like I said it earlier, every single body is different. Every single body is going to react to different things. And
Mhm.
I think working with a professional and it works. Like it's you know, I don't know how much of an impact it had, but like you had me add in some different vitamins that I wasn't taking before, and like these little things that ultimately maybe it didn't necessarily help my running, but it's making me a healthier person day to day.
Mhm.
But leave, you know, as a realtor, like leave it to the pros. Like I do not change my own electrical light fixtures. I hire an electrician. I do not change my own plumbing. I hire a plumber. So same thing with nutrition. Leave it to the pros. Like hire someone who that's their job and they'll help you figure out what's going on and there's usually a solution. But it will take dedication. And I
Mhm.
think for me that definitely helps because I am very passionate and motivated to like get to the bottom of things.
Mhm.
So just, you know, having a positive outlook and knowing that you're doing something for yourself in the long run is really important.
Yeah, I think that worked in your favor too, because you were like very on top of trying stuff out, being able to
Yeah.
report back on what you did, how things felt, ask
Yeah.
questions as you went along the way. And that's also important too if you're going to make changes with stuff or work with someone is to be able to treat it like a collaboration and a long-term process and not expect
Yeah.
changes in a day or a week. So
It takes time. It takes time for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and yeah, great message there. I would say like it's very complex with GI issues during exercise. There can be so many different factors from like female sex to like environment conditions, heat, cold, altitude, like pelvic floor health, like I said, pre-existing GI conditions, history of like fueling, gut training. So there's so many different things going on. So that's why it can sometimes be hard to just like look at all the info online and be like, okay, where do I start? What's going wrong? But as you said, like if someone is dealing with this, it can be helpful to have a second look, a professional look at things to really help tease out what the actual issues are, as you said.
And
Great.
and if you're someone who doesn't have any issues, then just be really thankful. I have some friends that can eat McDonald's the night before a race and you know they've never had any issues and oh my goodness, like do not take that stuff for granted.
It's funny. I guess they've been training their gut to handle McDonald's, so maybe that's it's working for them. That's good. Okay, we'll play a quick round of Would You Rather, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
This first one's a little mean, but we'll see how you how you respond. Would you rather hit every split perfectly in your marathon but have to stop for an urgent porta potty visit at kilometer 32, or run 3 minutes slower than your goal time but have a completely calm, predictable gut?
That's so hard. Um, oh gosh, I think having a healthy gut.
Hmm.
I think just yeah, because the it's no joke. Like it hurts when you're not having a good GI day. Like it hurts, and I feel like it's really bad for my body. So I rather yeah be a little bit slower and run slower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be quite stressful too, especially when you don't know when the next porta potty is.
Yeah, like Boston's great because there's porta potties every single kilometer, I think. But like I'm doing a race next weekend and there's not one bathroom on the course. So that also gets to my head. I'm like relying on that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but everything's gonna go well.
Yeah, yes, it will. You have a good history of everything going well, so
Yeah.
it'll be good. Okay, next one. Would you rather run on the treadmill for an hour or run around the same street block for an hour?
Well, that is a great question because boy, have I been treadmill running this winter. This Toronto winter has been horrendous. I did a 25-kilometer treadmill run last 2 weeks ago.
Ah,
So I have a very fresh answer for that, and I'm going to say run outside around the block. Because when you're running on the treadmill for so long, you're using the exact same muscles the entire time.
mm,
And I think having the natural kind of flow and turns and all of that you get outside is way better. That being said, if it is minus 20 degrees, I will choose the treadmill.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, we've been having some pretty tough conditions. I haven't done a workout outside in like a month,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
longer. I don't know. Treadmill. The one benefit though is that you can have like it's harder in the winter, I think, to get access to or carry fluids and your fuel. So the good thing about the treadmill is that you can have everything there. So it is a bit easier to fuel. So that's
I'm
nice.
definitely fuel. I definitely drink more water if I'm running on the treadmill.
Yeah, yeah.
It's outside.
I would pick the same. Yeah, running around the
Yeah.
block would be my answer too. And then, would you rather only run morning races ever again, or only run evening races?
Morning races. Evening races scare me because then you have a whole day of nutrition to work through.
That's true.
And again, as someone who has to be like fairly careful with what they're consuming, yeah, more the evening races are scary. That being said, my goal race this spring is the Ottawa 10K, which is in the evening.
Oh,
And I'm kind of doing it also as like I won't have any issues. Like everything's going to go well. And I want to prove to myself that I don't have to be afraid of doing an evening race because of the past issues that I've had. Will I be very careful the day of? I will be.
okay.
But yeah, morning races for sure for me.
Yeah, I think they're more common too, so most people have practiced them.
There's a lot of track like evening races and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just even like my run club, like we'll do workouts in the evening and I find because you have a whole day, like you run significantly faster because you're a lot more well nutrition, like energized than if you run in the morning.
Mhm.
But if you're not being super careful, like there will be usually some GI distress just because it's not like you've been eating all day.
Mm. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I would pick morning too. I like to take caffeine before races, and that doesn't go as well in the evening. So,
I have not ventured in that route yet.
oh,
I'm afraid of caffeine for racing.
we'll experiment with it another time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, any final tips to share with other runners looking to chase their PBs without gut issues holding them back? I know you've said a few things. If you have any final
Yeah.
thoughts or tidbits.
Not like again, like not gut issues specifically. We spoke about that earlier, but I will say running with a community, finding a community to run with. I used to do a lot of my running by myself, and ever since I started running with my club, the High Park Road Runners, it has completely changed my running. And I have a purpose now to each run. It's not just every run running easy or every run trying to run faster. It's some runs are supposed to be so much slower. And like you only kind of learn that stuff once you start running with coaches and understanding kind of that training. But the people you meet and then you start learning about everyone else's tactics and it's a whole world. And I think for me, yeah, joining a run club was like the really big shift. I had never done a marathon before joining a run club. And it was when I joined the club, I saw, oh, with training, you can actually probably get there. And I saw people achieve their goals. And then I wanted to try it. And now I'm on number 5, number 6. I'm going
Yeah.
to do number 6.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do they give you a whole like you have a structured training plan with that?
Yeah, my club is really good for that. They focus on energy exchange, so they actually don't charge a fee, but they ask that you give back to the community through volunteering initiatives, and they do a bunch of fundraisers.
Oh,
But yeah, they do a full training plan, and we have coaches, and then we have practice Wednesdays and Fridays, and then Sundays we do our long runs together. So yeah, it's really great, and it's literally across the street from my home, which is very convenient.
oh yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, I think community and like group support is a really big asset when it comes to being consistent with exercise and training, like in general. So
Yeah.
that's a good takeaway. Last thing I did want to ask you is just where sort of well getting closer to spring, but sort of mid-winter 2026 at the time of recording. What are you most looking forward to this year with your training, or any key goals? I think you mentioned Ottawa.
Yeah.
What's on the plan?
Yeah, so it's super exciting this year. I'm actually so like I love the marathon and I love the work that you can like how much you can progress in the marathon. And this year, so I've done the last 2 years, I've done two marathons a year, so spring and fall, a marathon each. And my coaches kind of explained to me that, in order to get faster, we need to do some shorter distance stuff because with marathon training, you have an incredible amount of running load. And when you're running, when your mileage is that high, it's really hard to do really fast work in workouts without risking injury. So we decided that this spring I would not be doing a marathon. So although I qualified for Boston again, I am taking a break from it this year, which is great because I do not want to be marathon training this winter. Um, but so I'm doing all speed. So my goal race is going to be the 10K in Ottawa, but I'm
Cool.
doing five other races during the build, and they're mostly going to be 5K races. I have the one half next week, but that's pretty much just for fun. But yeah, 5Ks just to kind of practice the hurt, like the being really uncomfortable. So it's been very different than my past training because it's a lot shorter, faster stuff.
Mhm.
And I have a big ambitious goal for the 10K. I'm hoping to get about 40 minutes, which is fast. So we'll see. Every second counts, and the shorter the distance, the shorter the time change.
Yeah, the more the
Um,
pain, but yeah.
yeah. And then I'm hoping to use that speed build and do the marathon this fall, be doing the Toronto Marathon.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the 10K is in May or
The
June?
10K is in May. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to do some winter, I guess winter and spring 5Ks. Is that the plan, or?
I'm doing, yeah, March 15th is going to be my first one, the St. Patty's Day 5K.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I have a few. It's mostly March, April, and then the 10K at the end of May.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That sounds like fun. I'm doing marathon training now after like focusing on 5K for a year. So it's absolutely opposite, but it's been a rough winter.
I heard you say in another podcast that 5K was your favorite, and it is for
It
me
is.
as well. And I think what I love of the like going into the 5K is, well, there's not enough time to really get any GI issues. So obvious, so there can be, don't get me wrong, but just that stress kind of like drops right away. It's like a
Yeah.
shorter distance, a little bit more manageable,
Yeah.
but it just hurts the whole time, and there's no time to get in your head. You just have to go push
Mhm.
hard and hold on.
Yeah.
We're a little bit crazy.
Yeah. I can be like, oh, why did I sign up for this? I'm never going to do this again. And then as soon as you
Yeah,
finish, you're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's why we get addicted to running.
exactly. It's very healthy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Cindy, for sharing everything today. I think this has been, as I said, a very inspiring episode to hear your journey, and I appreciate you sharing everything with us. For anyone listening, if you have any questions for either of us, you can leave them in the comment section. And I will also link to Cindy your Running Realtor page in case anyone in the Toronto area wants to connect with you on their real estate adventure,
Yeah.
and they align in terms of other active folks around here. And I think you shared another link with me as well, so I'll put that all down below. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.